when I write, I do not go out, I don't make a deliberate or conscious decision to adopt any particular rhyme scheme. I, I think of what I want to say. I think of ways to bring out the lyrics, and the rhymes come naturally, meaning that I may start the first line and I rhyme with the second line, then I just continue along that route, you know? I don't decide, well, okay, I'm going to write this song and the first line must rhyme with the second line, or the second line must rhyme with the fourth line, or the third line. I don't do that. I simply write it on what comes creatively at the time. I put it down, and I may just, you know, smooth it out and so on. So, but the important thing here is, it is important, it is useful to have a rhyme scheme in your songwriting, because it helps the song. It helps people to appreciate the song. It helps people to remember the song, and I think it helps the song to impact. Just one last thing on rhyming. I was reading that there are maybe about 15 different types of rhyme scheme. So I wouldn't even bother, if I were you, trying to learn those things, because I mean, when you write, I mean, rhyming is not something you study. I think it's something that comes, you know you want to do it, but it comes naturally, or it's supposed to come naturally. So with all the 15 different types of rhyme schemes, it's something that you can, you know, over the years and your exposure to different types of songs, you can probably get acquainted with. But it's not something that you need to know, you need to study to be able to write a song with rhymes. Okay. I just want to, because we started late, and there's more to come. Gregory has a lot of stuff to give to you. I just wanted to end at this point, right? At this point, to indicate to you that, in summary, some of the things that you want to look for in writing a song are: one, you want to be able to tell a story. You want to select a topic that is meaningful, is going to enable you to deliver a message that you want to give, because it's something you want to talk about. And secondly, it is something that your audience will want to listen to. Okay, so you want to do that. You want to choose a melody that is relevant, is appropriate for the song that you're going to write. Because what it does, if you are a musician, or if you have the ability to just come up with melodies, even if you're not an established musician, but it helps you to be able to write your lyrics better. Because there is something in writing lyrics called metering, as well. And what metering is it is the length of the line in relation to the melody that you have. So that if you have your melody, then you're able to write your song. First of all, I think you enjoy writing the song more if you're able to write it and put it to the melody at the same time and hum it. And apart from that, it helps you to be able to put the length, to ensure that the length of your lyrics, of each line, suits the melody that you have. Because if that's not the case, and you simply just write the lyrics and give them to somebody else to put the melody, then they end up having to change the lyrics, shorten them, lengthen them, and in some cases, they rewrite the entire song. I have been in situations where people have come to me and asked me to change the lyrics, right, of a song for them, right? And they asked me to put a melody, they asked me to put a melody to the song. And by the time I start doing that, I realized, but there's no way you can put a melody that remains consistent to the lyrics that you have there, because the lyrics are so disproportionate, you know? So you have to sit down and fix them, and I end up rewriting the songs altogether, you know? So that the melody that I want to put there can fit. So choose a good melody if you are able to do that. If not, work with somebody who can get a good melody for you. And then look at all of the areas that you need to in terms of writing your lyrics. Look at your coherence. Make sure that you're telling your storyline is consistent throughout the song. Excuse me. Make sure that what you, the information or the message that you're putting in the song remains coherent throughout, that you don't stray, you know, and also to ensure that the length of the song is in keeping with the target audience or the purpose that you're writing the song for. If you're writing it for radio, then you have to make sure it's not too long, that it can be played on radio. If you're writing it, say, for competition, you have to bear that in mind. If you're writing it just for yourself, to put in your archives, and that's a different thing. You can express yourself and do what you want. But those are some of the things that you have to be mindful of, you know, when writing a song. You have to make sure that your rhymes, that there's a rhyming scheme in the song, because that's important. So ultimately, when you finish writing that song, whoever is listening to it will be able to appreciate it, to understand what you've been singing along, to be able to sing along with it. And that's where your chorus comes in with your hook and so on, and a beautiful melody. So a good melody, well-written lyrics, you know, a nice beat, and Gregory will talk about that, you know, a little later on. And following the techniques that we have suggested here, except if you're at a stage where you are an accomplished artist and you think that you have the ability to just create and do different things because you know what you're doing. So that'd be fine. But other than that, have some sort of structure to what you're doing. If you're learning to write songs, have some sort of structure and follow some guidelines initially to help you get it right, to structure the song properly. And I want to encourage you to continue, to write as often as possible. Do that on a regular basis, because that's the only way you're going to improve. You know, get assistance, get advice from those who can write. If you already a musician or you can play music, it's advisable that you learn to play an instrument. That will help you. Develop your musical skills, because the better you are at music, the better you are able to produce melodies, and the better you're going to be able to write a song if you can put a nice melody to it. So I want to thank you. I will be providing some support to Gregory as he comes and elaborates on the practical aspect of what I've talked about, both in terms of lyrics and melody. But I want to thank you here at the Old Mill and at home for listening to me, and I hope that you were able to take away something from what I presented here this afternoon. I'm hoping that by the time I leave here, I will have learned something from those of you who will eventually participate in this exercise. Thank you very much.
Ouais, bonsoir. Ça se fait. Mabrika. Welcome to the second section part, presented by me, Gregory Rabess. Many people know me as Washla. And like Tim before, I should just tell you a little bit of my sort of songwriting claim to fame. Songwriting came to me quite naturally. I never did literature at school. In fact, I hated poetry. I mean, like, because we were, we talked about elegy in a country churchyard, talking about the daffodils in England, in the snow and all that story. Nothing really relevant to us. And we used to get callot on our head if we couldn't remember one of the verses of the 32 stanzas of verses of that elegy in a country churchyard. So I hated this stuff. Never did literature at school. But for most of my life, since my teens, actually since my early days in St. Mary's Academy. I remember my first poem was written about Dominica. I was somewhere between first and third form. So I've been writing for a very, 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 very long time. I've written, well, for myself, I have 3 albums, Washla, Metgel, and D.A.B. with the Song. I have written for the likes of Ophelia, Hurricane, Hunter, Genius, and in 1994, I think it was, I wrote the road march called Tiweo, which was performed by Hurricane. And so it gives you a sense of that. And Washla itself, which is my signature song, still resonates very, very, very powerfully in Dominica today. It is actually legend. So many people find meaning in, you might say, such a simple song. So my task this evening is to give you some tips, show you some ideas, and a little later I'm going to demonstrate using my guitar on the melody side, how we can then push the boundaries, move from the ordinary to the extraordinary, move from the typical to the non-typical, you know, that kind of thing, how we can push the boundaries of the music. Let me just first reflect on 2 points I think Tim was asking for some help on. He was talking about the title thing, right? A very interesting thing about titles is that the people can give your song a title, you know. And one classic example is a song called L'Hivernage. Do you know what that song is? Anybody know that song, L'Hivernage? Okay, L'Hivernage is a song written by Exile One, which was a veritable road march in Dominica at one point, one of the carnivals. But everybody knows it as Trio, because Trio was the hook line in the song. So Trio became the alternative name or the more popular name for that song called L'Hivernage. Okay? And you wanted some help in the question of remembering when a song starts with just lyrics or at the intro, right? And another classic in that regard is actually, again, from Tim Durand's home country. We're talking about Good Hope. The song by Song Masters, another very iconic song, Wash Mason with his A. And it starts simply with this sort of rhythmic, you know that kind of stuff? Right. So, then you say PT, met l'école, take a bath, that kind of stuff. So it starts with that bang, just with the lyrics, but of course, with the music supporting it. So I just wanted to share this too. Okay, let me now try to push the boundaries along within the time limit, because we did, through our technical difficulties, we did run out of, sorry, we lost out on half an hour. Okay, so having done a little bit of introduction about me and all of that, so I'm going to put my presentation condense it into 2 sections. It's pushing the boundaries, really, of lyrics and music. So I'm going to give you a few tips and some ideas on those things. And I'm mainly going to focus on the language of the lyrics, all right? Because that's what it's all about. In the Caribbean, we have a particular language, landscape, or linguistic context. In the Caribbean, we are multilingual. So in Dominica, for example, in our language landscape, we have the standard English, some people refer to as the Queen's English. We have the Dominican English, which is what we speak normally every day. We have Creole, what was considered or referred to as Patois back in the days. We have Khoikhoi, which is what is spoken in Marigot, Wesley, and so on, and Clifton as well. We also have Kalinago, which would be the heritage of the Kalinago people up in the Kalinago territory. And apart from that too, we also have Spanish and French within our linguistic landscape, all right? So Dominica is a multilingual. We live in a multilingual environment. So it means that we cannot be singing only in one language. We cannot be singing only in English. In fact, one time, there was a time when all the calypsos in Dominica, for some strange reason, were being sung in English. Until probably, well, you had, for example, we remember back in the days when I was going to school, we had Bayo Bois, right? We had things of that nature. So you had Creole lines, very powerful Creole lines within the calypso. But after some years, you were just not hearing Creole lyrics within the calypso. And then when Tibiweo came on the scene, which was a fully charged bilingual with the chorus line, mainly in Creole, that just basically, I think, increased the awareness that, hey, we got to put, and today we do have a lot of Creole lyrics within our calypsos, and the Creole lyrics, what they do, they spice up the calypsos. Okay, now I should say that I talked about the typical and the non-typical. Now pushing the boundaries, it's risky, right? Being typical, that is safe, it's a safe bet. It's predictable, people can understand what's going on, predict the rhyme schemes and all of that. It is very popular, and it's also commercially viable. But pushing the boundaries has the effect of the opposite. It has risks in it. You may not have a hit. You lose your money. People wouldn't relate to it and all of that. So how you push the boundaries, you have to strike a balance. That you do not push the envelope, push the boundaries too far that you lose the audience. So you have to strike a balance between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Okay. Just trying to get my... Okay. Some practical examples now of the bilingual approaches that people use in song. Those of you who are familiar with Carlos Santana, one of his songs is called Let the Children Play. Now, the Latin American artists like Santana have to cross over to target also the North American market, but they're coming from a Spanish-speaking Latin American situation. So in the song Let the Children Play, it's really bilingual and back to back. So when they say, let the children play, let the children have their way, at the same time, the next line is saying, ellos tienen que jugar, the children have to play. So it's back to back. So you're getting actually, if you can't understand Spanish, you're getting the English line one time. So it works as a direct translation. We have it, like Beyonce has a song called Baby Boy, right? And featuring Sean Paul. Now, you find a lot of what you might call pop artists from North America and Europe, Britain. They recruit, particularly Jamaicans, to spice up. So the whole concept of featuring, so you might have a song, Beyonce, and it's written featuring Sean Paul. So that is a new phenomenon. So they use the Jamaican artists to bring in and to introduce the Jamaican patois. And that gives the pop song Baby Boy a new dimension. It also helps it to connect with Caribbean audiences. Okay? So that's one way. You had a collaboration between Shakira and Wyclef Jean on a track. So you have that kind of collaboration. Now, still internationally, there's a lady called Patti LaBelle from North America, United States. She had a mammoth hit way back called Lady Marmalade, right? And the punchline or the chorus line, the main ones was, Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir, right? Powerful hit internationally, cross all linguistic boundaries, right? But it's a simple line. Do you want to sleep with me tonight? Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Of course, for all kinds of reasons, it will resonate with all kinds of people in the age of the flirting, right? Another very interesting technique used in using, in this case, Creole for effect is a guy called Teddyson John. Teddyson John is a soca artist who originates from St. Lucia, but is based in Trinidad. And Teddyson John has done a very brilliant thing, in my view, and he has a couple songs. You know that one called Ale? Ale, 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 right? Very powerful lyrics. It's a soca track, very powerful lyrics. And it's not about party and wine, back and stroke, back, you know. Very powerful message, right? And then he has another song about vent. Yoka pale, 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 right? And then he has another one, leave. Kite sa, right? So here is Teddyson John, who is from St. Lucia, and relating to his Creole roots within the Trinidad soca space, but brilliantly using Creole words, verbs in that case, to and basically writing a song around one word. You know, that's how Dominica parle. They say, oh, we have a parrot in our flag, so Dominicans like to talk. You know, that kind of thing. You know, when we throw in Mapri at ourselves in Dominica. So we Caribbean people, we love to talk. That's why they say we are more the oral tradition rather than the writing tradition, right? So you have that thing. Marcel Montano has a track called Danser avec moi, and on that track features Jacob Desvarieux. Again, that is the whole business of collaboration. So if you want to cross the linguistic divides, one very important technique is to collaborate with musicians from other linguistic areas. Okay? So like a Dominican musician, for example, could collaborate with a musician from Dominican Republic and do a reggaeton hit, for example. Things of that nature. There's another interesting example in Angola where they have a type of music which is really like zouk. It's called kizomba. And one of the collabs being done there in a very powerful song is done by a musician called Nelo Cavallo. And Jacob Desvarieux is featuring on that as well. And the name of the song is called Mama Falou. So you can go on YouTube and look up those songs, and Mama Falou in particular. And Jacob is singing in Creole while Nevo Cavallo is singing in Portuguese. Brilliant. Okay, just a few more examples. We know of Mighty Sparrow, Sasaye, and Manger, very powerful calypsos. Jeff Joe, our own Jeff Joe, especially in his period, his stint with Voltfast, he had some very powerful songs. One of them was If I Say Yes, another one was Turn on the Radio, or Put on the Radio. And these were songs done in Creole and English, cutting across the linguistic divides. Karimi from Haiti, in the realm of compa music, does that a lot, bringing in a lot of sort of English American slogans and punch words and hype words, weaving that into the Haitian Creole. And that's one of the reasons that has got Karimi to connect with so many younger people in Dominica. You know, when you hear Karimi, back in the days, compa music is for fellas like me and Tim, the old school fellas. But Karimi bridged the generation divide by doing just that. Another thing that Karimi did, and especially Michael Durand in more recent times with the vibe, is the use of the tonal qualities of his voice. If you notice, they do a lot of what you might call R&B tonal qualities with the vocals. Again, that sort of connects with the younger people who love R&B. It connects with North America, where you have at least 1 million Haitians resident in North America. Again, so for its commercial purposes, it's very important to bridge the linguistic divides. We have some more powerful, good examples. We have Shakira with the World Cup theme, Waka Waka, which is a traditional song from West Africa. We have Osibisa, which is a band that was well known in the Caribbean. It consisted of musicians from Ghana and musicians from the Caribbean, actually. Very powerful. And one of their hit songs was a song called Woyaya. We are going, heaven knows where we are going. So it's a nice little gospel African kind of track. And so you have that thing. And they had other things like Kokroko, one, Kokroko. You know, they would weave between the African and the English and therefore connect with wider audiences. Closer to home, we have in Barbados another powerful song by Alison Hines, Faluma. You remember that one? No, what the Faluma, I don't have the lyrics in my head, but it's something about ding, 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 that kind of very, 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 right? Now, these lyrics are from actually a song, a traditional song from the Bush Negroes, what they call them in Suriname. It's called Saramaka, I think that's the name of the language. And then, so she was able to use a traditional song from the deep forests of Suriname and bring it to life in the Caribbean and the world. Okay? Then we have, in Dominica, we have the Black Affairs from Marigot. They had a very powerful song called Camela, where they weaved the lyrics about Camela, and they used Cocoy lyrics within that. Very powerful stuff. It it connected very well. It was one of their big hits. It might be, there's another one called Mama C'est Saoudi Me Poufe. These two songs would be the signature hits of Black Affairs. And then in the Kalinago territory, there was a band called the Indigenous Culture Band, and they had a song called Mabrika, Mabrika, and nowadays with the Kalinago word for the, everybody knows what Mabrika means. The significance. And then we had a recording, very brilliant recording too, by the Carifuna Cultural Group. And within their songs, they do have songs that are done entirely in Kalinago, and there are songs that are done Kalinago Creole, Kalinago English. So that way they can actually connect and bridge the linguistic divides. Another technique that you can use is in covers. You simply, basically, when you're doing covers, you might decide to just translate the song. There's a song by Billy Joel called Just the Way You Are. Now, so it's the English, just some of it anyway. It says, don't go changing just to try and please me. You never let me down before. Don't imagine you're too familiar and I don't see you anymore. But it goes on, but the hook lines in that particular song is, I will take you just the way you are. I want you just the way you are, or I love you just the way you are. I want you just the way you are. You know, that kind of thing, right? So I made an effort to translate those lyrics into Creole, which would go, faut pas changer, just pour plaire moi, ou pas jamais mettez moi à terre. Pas imaginer, moi connais tout, et moi pas qu'à faire encore. And you go on, and then in the thing you say, moi que point ou con ou yeah, or moi anivle ou con ou yeah, or moi mais ou con ou yeah. Now, interestingly, when you translate it into Creole, it resonates with the English original. When it says, I want you just the way you are. So it's the same tonal quality. Okay, so that is the way that you can bridge the gaps by simply taking a very popular song and translating it into another language. They do that quite a lot in the French Antilles, and they do that quite a lot in Puerto Rico and in Panama and Latin America, where they translate. And Brazil too as well, where they take pop songs and they translate it into their respective languages. Another thing that you don't read that in books. I came up with this one in a sense on my own, but also listening to a wide range of music. Tweaking the language. In this case, Creole. Making the Creole song like another language. That sounds very funny, right? It makes it make the Creole song even more exotic. Creole is already an exotic language. And here it is, you're going to make the Creole song maybe like something coming out of Africa, one of the languages there. Now, what is Matelewi? Anybody knows what's Matelewi? Matelewi. Okay, right, so somebody got it. Matelewi, I did not want to laugh. So if I say it fast enough, you're going to scratch your head a little bit, right? Matelewi, I did not want to laugh. Kimeleo, what's that? What do they care? But when you string it together, it at first it sounds something like something else. Okay? And in the song Matelewi, I mean, and that song incidentally is like what they call a cha-cha sort of a Latin rock song, but it goes like Matelewi, 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 that kind of thing. Midnight Groovers has a very interesting example. Simple one, Olio. Okay, yes, Olio. At first, if you're not really listening carefully, Olio. But Olio, where are they? And Olio, Oli Mama no, Oli Papa no. So this song by Groovers sort of asking what about our ancestors and the issues of captivity and murder and genocide and all of that kind of story. Another technique in pushing the boundaries of your lyrics is addressing the rhythm of the lyrics. We Caribbean people, we have a lot of rhythm. It's natural. A little child, 2-3 years old, will dance a belly for you, swing to the calypso, the soca groove, just like that. A little European child struggling. So it's natural in us. Okay? So much so that, for example, in the dancehall genre coming out of Jamaica, the lyrics, the vocalizing of the lyrics actually replicates the drum, the djembe drums. Okay? And the fastness of the delivery and the rolling of the tongue and all of that. So dancehall is a very, very good example of that. Rap as well is a very good example of how they weave the rhythm of the lyrics into the rap or mesh it, bring it all together. In Guadeloupe as well, next door, they have a traditional form of music called guoka, which is sort of similar to our bele here in Dominica. And you have an artist called Admiral T. Incidentally, his father is from Dominica. And one of the biggest selling albums and hits coming out of Guadeloupe in the last year and a half is an album, I don't have the name offhand, but it's an album by Admiral T, which messes dancehall and guoka. And go on YouTube, and you might have heard Shatka Tete Wat on DBS radio, because they play it quite a lot. There's another one called Jolie Congo. There's another one called Bembridge Show. I think Admiralty has done a really fantastic work of bridging dancehall, but using dancehall vocal techniques and rhythmic techniques in terms of the music, and bridging it with another genre which is very fundamental to Guadeloupe called guoka. Other examples, we have Sour Sour. There's a song that Sour Sour had, right? I Live in My Life. Is that it, right? But it's saying something about undisputed, da-da-da-da, that kind of thing, undisputed king, right? So it starts off with that. So it really meshes well with the sort of Lapu Cabrit style. You're on the street and you that kind of stuff. We talked about the song masters already. There's a very popular song by Michael Durand called L'amour facile. It's very popular, and there is a way that they use, I think they talk about yan, de, trois, da da da, quatre, cinq, da 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 da. So it's a way of weaving, so you introduce additional rhythmic properties to the lyrics. And from my own repertoire, you have I sort of tend to do that a lot. The famous washla, a lot of rhythmic expression within that. Like in the way, Nio gopetan mama washa shimea, that kind of thing. Or when it starts, Ni mun le jwen wash, ka bouche shimea, ni mun ki sa pou fè, sa ki pa sa pou yo fè, a la mun ki asis gade jiktan, lot mun viniti we, ni mun ki ke babye, ni mun ki ke bougone. So there's a lot of rhythm in the lyrics. I have another one called shak ti tak ti tak, shak ti tak ti tak, every little bit, shak ti tak ti tak, shak ti tak ti tak. There's another one called sak ki sao si sao, glo pakashaye, sak ki sao si sao. So you use you introduce additional rhythmic components based on the genres as well, and you weave that into the lyrics. So, and then you push the boundaries. Time check. It looks like we're into 7:30 thing, but using popular expressions. Tim Durand talk about where do we get ideas from. A very powerful way that Dominican, and we do it all in Kadas music, is very, very popular. Gramax, pas danser avec coco sec. That's a proverb. in groovers, Coco Sec. Somewhere Duvan, Saudeye, very powerful, right? Using proverbs, popular sayings, and weaving a song around it. Mammoth, another band, basically from the Salisbury area, they had a very popular one too. Maman mange raisin, dans enfants glacis. That's the chorus, very powerful stuff. And then we had a very mammoth hit by Jeff Joe Gramax called Mi Deba. Now, Mi Deba is like an expression, mi bredex, mi deba, whoa, mi deba, that kind of stuff, right? When a can, some kind of thing happening. So that's expressiveness. So Gramax and Jeff weave that into a song, and that song is, in my view, actually is one of the, we might say, one of the most popular kind of songs across the regions of the world. Matter of fact, Mi Deba has been recorded by several groups spanning Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. In fact, they have renamed it Avispa. You will go on YouTube and look for that, Avispa, and you will see lots of even carnival bands in the carnivals in some of these countries, floats, big bands, dancing to the music of Avispa, which is really Mi Deba, that kind of stuff. Yeah? So we must not shy away from exploring the language context of our Dominican landscape because it has really given us results. Okay? Let me just do quickly. Okay, I think I can then move on to the melody bits. Let me just cue it up. Hold on. Go up to the melody. I have to bring on my guitar, and I think I'm going to make a slight switch. So the camera may have to be adjusted as well. I'm going to give you, using my guitar, how you can push the boundaries of the music. Okay? Great. Are we ready? Nice. I'm going to have to move the mic a little bit beyond the podium. Somebody might want to help me put it a little more forward, or we might have to move this a little more backward, but I need to stay in the light. Okay. Probably not. But no, I'm going to come in front of the podium. I'm going to have to try to run it by memory, or I can just gotta work some magic here. Okay, quickly, in terms of looking at the music component of songwriting, we talked about putting lyrics together. Now, some writers do not have a clue in terms of music and stuff. They might have an idea, a melodic idea in their head, A lot of Calypsonians have that issue. But they will come to a musician like Tim Durand or me, and with the melodic idea, they have the lyrics, and they have a germ of a melody. Now it is for the task of the musician now to understand the melody, the basic melody, and then put that to music. Okay? So the melody really is a series of notes. Okay? That is one part of it. Okay? Me on go wash shimea. Okay, that's a melody. Another important component of that is what they call harmony. Okay? Now think of harmony as the melody is like the main part, the first part of the thing. Think of the harmony as the second or secondary parts. And that can be represented in vocals by, when you have things like tenor, alto, soprano, and all of that in choirs. So people sing in parts, okay? And in terms of the music and the instruments now, on the piano or the guitars, we are now talking about chords, okay? So usually you have what they call triads. So you have the root note, which is the first, and then the third, and the fifth, okay? So that would give you the sort of triad in that thing. So the third would be the harmonizing fifth. And you can still harmonize as you go up along the range of sevenths and ninths and so on. You can actually do that. There's also a few little points about the music part of it. Tim Durand talked about the question of emotions and mood in the lyrics. Now, the music itself has to support those emotions and the moods. So if you're singing something very spiritual, you cannot have a music that is really carnivalesque. You know, that kind of thing? So the music has to support. So if it's a song that is reflective, nostalgic, the music has to reflect that. And the choice of musical instruments, because you have something called timbre, which is the color and the tonal qualities of the music. So in that sense, making choices of whether you use the guitar, the piano, horns, flutes, whatever, drums, all that is part of the decision making you have to make when you're putting the music to the lyrics. And then, of course, you have to think about the mood, the tempo, the rhythm, and as we pointed out already, if it's a sad song, the tempo has to be laid back, okay? If it is a party anthem, jump and wave, jump up and wave, very upbeat stuff, okay? So that is basically fundamental here. And then, in terms of the music, let me just list them and then I'll get to the guitar. Some things that can be done is that when you're actually singing you did your melody, you have your music together, your basic chords and everything. What do you do with the vocals? Do you sing the vocals just like bland? Or do you try to push the envelope of the vocals? One of the ways to do that is to borrow from other styles, vocal styles, from other genres of music. And I spoke about Michael Durand and the use of R&B tonal qualities within the compa, okay? So that is what I'm talking about. So you can borrow styles from R&B or jazz, dancehall, whatever, to create that vocal effect with the voice in the singing part of it, okay? You have the lyrics, but you have to sing out the lyrics. And then we're talking about using the other languages apart from English. But musically, you can experiment within a genre. I'm going to show you in a little while how I experiment with ballet, okay, and mix ballet with jazz. Another thing that can be done, that you mix styles within the same song. So within a particular song can have two different sets of rhythms. We had, for example, one of the things that Black Machine, one of their signature songs is a song called Anae Wetilala. That's a ballet track, right? So one of their hit songs was in fact Anae, where they did a cadence calypso track and they weaved the ballet within that cadence calypso track, okay? And then think as well, since we are Caribbean people, we are sort of pushing the boundaries of the language and using the different languages that exist in the Caribbean. The same way, musically, we have to reflect the diversity of musical genres in the Caribbean. And in that sense, I'm going to use a word like tropical Creole. So, generally speaking, if you want your music to be identified as Caribbean, yeah, think about it as tropical Creole, because we live in a tropical environment, so that says a lot of things. Not only the climate is hot, but we are hot people. Yeah? So, that kind of thing. So think about it at that. In other words, within our music, you might get acoustic feels, you might get a salsa feel, different types of feels, but once you hear the sound, you might hear a steel pan, bam! You know that's coming from the Caribbean. Okay? So many mainstream, I don't like to use that word. North American and European artists use Caribbean instruments and ethnic instruments like the steel pan to give their sound again, I hate the word, world music sound. Okay? The marimba is very popular now in the things like family, when Baba Dada explains to you how we put the beats together. So you have these ethnic instruments coming to play within the percussion part of it. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate, first of all, I'm going to demonstrate something with cocoa sec. Yeah? Cocoa sec. Basically in cocoa sec, let us say, I'm using A here, A major here. But it's built around 4 chords, okay? So generally it's like, right? Now you can play the song, you can start by saying, you know, that kind of stuff, and you go, but something seems missing. So what chord did it? Added this chord, which is G here, and to give it a complete swing. Okay, so. Sautez-les pour moi, monsieur. Somewhere devant sound. So you get that groove, right? So some musicians, or well, let's say someone who is not really, who is very, I'll say young, I'll put it that way, he doesn't know much about the chords and chord structures in music. He might just stick to the 3 chords and not use the others. Okay, one of the things I do, for example, is what we call substitute chords, all right, or altered chords. I have a song called IMF, which is a calypso. And basically, I could use, this is C here, this is A minor, this is D minor, and this is G. And that is a very standard calypso progression, right? Can somebody, I need a chair to give my guitar a bit of support here. Thanks. Yeah. No, it's okay. No, not too far from where I am. Right. Okay, let us. Oh, yeah, I pointed. So the song is IMF, which will say, IMF, oh, c'est misère, oh, IMF, oh, c'est misère, oh. Okay, now I introduce 2 chords within the 4-chord structure. And they are called diminished chords. Okay, and I'm going to play it and you'll feel the difference. Okay. IMFO, c'est misère, oh. IMFO, c'est misère, oh. What do you make of that? What did substituting in that case the minors with diminished chords? What did it change the feel? What do you make of it? Okay, one says it flavored it up a little, right? Any other input? But you will agree that it changed the feel, right? IMFO, c'est misère, oh, IMFO. So what it did, it gave it a sort of a jazzy edge, okay? It gave it that sort of jazzy edge. Another very interesting one is, we know very well in our traditional music, it's called Dominique do quand si wo, si ou de ou pas aimer Dominique, ou pas jamais boire si wo. You know that song, everybody knows that, right? Now that basically is two chords, right? Basically D and A here. Okay? Now I reworked that particular song, both lyrically in terms of the verses and in terms of melodically and then the chords that I choose. Okay, so I'm going to do it for you. The same song, basically, and I was going to do it differently. Dominique do. Dominique do quand si wo. Si ou de ou pas aimer Dominique, ou pas jamais boire si wo. Dominique do quand si wo. Si ou de ou pas aimer Dominique, ou pas jamais boire si wo. Dominique do quand si wo. Si ou de ou pas aimer Dominique, ou pas jamais boire si wo. Okay? So it changed. What did it do to it actually? Remember Dominique do, the Dominique do quand si vous si. Okay, it made it more jazzy. It gave it a jazzy edge, right? And lyrically, I adjusted the lyrics as well because in them times I was saying, boy, things hard in Dominica. What's what you trying, boy? Dominic do quand si what you trying, boy? You know that kind of thing, right? So I adjusted the lyrics in the verse, and that is where, again, talking about the lyrics. So I said, okay, yo di pays a oued, tout bagay tout nou led, tout la ou passe, mais changer kan si on bagay ki oued, mais pa ni rien ki pli dou. So here it is, I juxtapose the hardship of life to the sugar cane. It's hard, but it's sweet. So life is hard, yes, but life is also sweet. So I adjusted the lyrics of that particular, a traditional song. Okay, there's another one I worked with called, we knew that one called Chimère Rive au Vent. Anou hele huré, anou hele bravo, anou hele huré, ohé, Chimère Rive au Vent. Anou hele huré, anou hele bravo, anou hele huré, huré, Chimère Rive au Vent. Okay, that's the traditional. Now I reworked that. Actually, I created a new song, but it was inspired. The name of the song is actually called Chemin Ouvert, which simply is only because people in La Plaine were happy that the road is open now. They never had motorable roads, and that was a big celebration, right? And that song became legend. It's one of the standards in Dominica. So I reworked that song, but I wouldn't call it like a rework, but it's a completely new song, but using the concept and idea. Anou hele huré, hele bravo, Chimère ouvert. Anou hele huré, hele bravo, Chimère rive au vent. Teni yon go wash a Chimère, yon go petan mama wash a Chimère. Okay, so again, pushing the boundaries. All right, using a completely different set of chords. In this case, I'm using ninths, major sevenths. I'm using diminished chords in there, in that sequence. Even a ninths as well. Okay, so I'm pushing the boundaries here, and the rhythm of that is sort of a bouillon fusion groove, right? That kind of thing. Okay, so which takes me now to other possibilities. The bouillon genre is very popular. In fact, there is a sort of a bouillon jazz. Colin XP is planning a bouillon jazz fusion thing coming up. I have a couple of things trying out in that sort of genre of the bouillon using on the music side, right? Okay, let me just. Okay. Okay, so what do you make of that? I mean, I don't have the drums and all that to go with it, but basically that is a series of chords, sort of building from, you know, that track by Jacob de Vary, Kassav, Zukla Sisel Medicament Uni, where in fact every time they play that song Kassav, he always changes to his electroacoustic guitar. All right, because that song, Zukla Sisel Medicament Nuni, is driven by the acoustic sound of the guitar. So that sometimes you make, so if you want to give the bouillon an acoustic feel, then you simply use the guitar in that sense, as a way of making it a little bit more exotic. I have another song called Belle Musique. Again, making choices for chords. Let me show it to you here. Les musiques ça jouer, moi envie danser. Les musiques ça jouer, moi envie danser. Okay, now that is standard procedure. You might say that's a typical. If you play in the song, that is a typical. Now what I did, I made that song a little bit more acoustic, give it a more acoustic feel. Again, by using the acoustic guitar. And this time, I was using what? I was using this is a major, and this is the A minor. Okay, so major and minor chords. In the new sequence, I'm going to use a combination of minor chords and what they call suspended chords. That's it, suspended chords, okay? And you just check this out. Les musiques ça jouer, moi envie danser. Les musiques ça jouer, moi envie danser. Les moi tant musique ça là, on bagaille ka pour moi, on ka senti en tête moi, la descente position ton pain. Oh, les moi tant musique ça là, moi ka senti en chez moi, moi ka senti en ouais moi. En tout corps à moi, les musiques ça jouer, moi envie danser, lever, 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 danser, lever, 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 danser, lever, 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 danser, ça c'est belle musique pour danser là, get up, get up, get up and dance, get up, get up, get up and dance, get up, get up, get up and dance, ça c'est belle musique pour danser là. Okay, so I did a couple things there. One, changing the chords that I used. What did he do to it? It gave it a more what you call ballad, acoustic kind of feel, even if maintaining the rhythm. But it gave it a more acoustic, as if you are using what they call a 12-string guitar. As opposed to, yeah, totally. So pushing the musical boundaries from the musical point of view has to do with the type of chords, using alternative chords in your music. And I will end with the demonstration and my presentation with two here. The washla. Okay, now the washla fundamentally is built around two chords, G minor and F. Okay, so there we go. It will go like this. Me go washa shimea. Me go petan mama washa shimea. Me go washa shimea. Me go petan mama washa shimea. Two chords. Now I can use alternative chords on the same sequence because, well, that's a little more technical. You find that in major chords you have what they call the relative minors. Okay? So in that case, I'm using the relative minors as part of that sequence. And let me play it for you. Me go washa shimea. Me go petan mama washa shimea. Me go washa shimea. Me go petan mama washa shimea. Okay, so it gives it a different color, different kind of feel than just the two. Okay? And then I will use that to lead into the final point, is that some people complain, sometimes songs, even they make a critic of bouillon, for example, and they say it's like maybe based on one chord, two chords. But in fact, you can have powerful songs based on one chord. There is a song from Brazil called One Note Samba. Right? But you can actually build a song based on simply one chord. If, for example, I'll give you the bass line of Zukla Sisel Medica Manuni. It's just one note bass. Powerful. All right? So in Zukla Sisel Medica, we just have the bass. Boom, boom, boom. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, 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 doom. That's all. You find a lot of that in bouillon. Okay? But do you know what that sort of one note bass represents? Musically and culturally in our space? In Jinping music, what do you have for the bass? The boom boom. So here it is now. Kassav and the bouillon artists have been able to replicate the bamboo bass on the sound, on the genre. Okay, so you have that so basically that's what it is. Okay? So similarly, you can have, for example, in the verse of Washla, it's basically built around one chord with embellishments. Ni moun le jwen wash, ka bouche shimea, ni moun ki sav sa pou fè, ta ki pa sav sa pou yo fè, ala moun ki asis gade, jiktan lot moun vini tiwe, ni moun ki ke babye, ni moun ki ke bougane. Right? But the actual original goes like this, with some embellishments, right? Ni moun le jwen wash, ka bouche shimea, ni moun ki sav sa pou fè, sa ki pa sav sa pou yo fè. Ana moun ki asis bagay, dike an lot moun vini tiwe. Ni moun ki ke babye, ni moun ki ke bougane. Mi an go washa shimea. Okay? So in that sense, it can be done. And then the final point about the one note is a song I wrote. It's on one of my albums called A Song to End It All, which is very appropriate for the presentation tonight. It's a song to end it all, right? And again, it's built on a ninth chord. Now, a ninth chord is very popular in funk music, all right? So if you really want to make your song funky, apply a ninth chord to it. Okay? If you want to make your song a bit jazzy, go to the major sevenths and the minor sevenths. Okay? That kind of stuff. Yeah? If you want to go into the blues, you go into the sevenths and the ninths as well. Okay? So we are talking about the one note good. And in that sense, right? So the time has come for us to go. We got to end the show. But the look on your face tells me for sure that you want something more. Let's sing this song to end it all. Let's sing this song to end it all. Akai mama nukale. Come go home anuale. Okay, so basically, now again, doing a few things in that particular thing here. We take a popular sort of a line from one of our traditional Congo annuale and weaved it into the music, right? Come go home annuale, akai mama nukale, so long. See you some other time. So long. See you some other time. Nuke wewo, bal fini violon a sako. Nuke wewo, bal fini violon a sako. Bal fini violon a sac, bal fini violon a sac, bal fini violon a sac. Okay, so built around one chord, really. One, again, it has to do with the choice of chords. In that case, I'm using the ninth. Okay, so that would take me. The only thing I really should have showed you all, let me just do it quick, is the thing about the ballet thing, right? You know what ballet is all about, right? So I have this one called. Whoa, 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 place. Calling all the fellas, calling all the gals. Whoa, 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 place. Calling all the mamas, calling all the papas. Come gather round to the sound when belly meets jazz. Come gather round to the sound when belly meets jazz. Now where do you think we got a groove like that? It's been around as a matter of fact. Improvisation makes thing around belly jazz fusion. Whoa, 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 place. Calling all the fellas, calling all the gals. Whoa, 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 place. Calling all the mamas, calling all the papas. Come gather round to the song when belly meets jazz. Come gather round to the sound when belly meets jazz. Belly oh, belly show, belly oh. Dansez belle, sautez belle, pitchez belle, dansez belle oh. Belle oh, belle show, belle oh. Dansez belle, sautez belle, pitchez belle, dansez belle oh. Ça c'est tout pour le. Thank you very much. Giselle? Did people send in any questions on the line or something like that? Make my PowerPoint available. Well, the cultural division has it already. So what you can do is, that folks on the internet and folks at the workshop here, is send in your contact details to the cultural division, and they will share with you the PowerPoint. This is my PowerPoint presentation. Tim has to speak for himself. Tim, what are you saying, Tim? That's fine for you? Okay, so Tim, you should come up front, because we're wrapping this thing up, Yeah. So let's just do it together. So people online, send your contact details to the cultural division. I hope you can do that. My own telephone number is, with using the code, is 245. That's for Washla, right? 245. 0660. No, I answer my phone any time of the night. That's all right, especially from the girls. Anyway, we are carrying people. We have to be, we have what you call joie de vivre. So basically, 245 0660. That's my number. You can send me a WhatsApp if you have a question, if you have something that you want to get clarification in, if you have a lyric that you want me to help you push the boundary, push the envelope. Washla's your man.
Gregory calls me up and then he says what he has to say and leaves. I just want to give you my number as well in case you feel that you need to give me a call to discuss anything with me. I know there's certain people who from time to time call me to help them with the lyrics and so on. I do that willingly. My number is 275-3200. It was a pleasure being part of this activity tonight and sharing what little knowledge I have about songwriting with you. And I'm hoping that you can take the information that we've gotten and apply it and do the things that you need to do to improve yourselves, both musically, in terms of learning to play an instrument, learning to improve your musical skills so you can apply your melodies to your lyrics, and practice writing as often as you can. That's the only way you're going to improve and get better, So just write, and learn music so you can apply your music to your writing. Thanks very much. It was a pleasure being here tonight.
Merci en pile.